live from New Jack City, or the land of the Warriors, or maybe the land of the Lords of Flatbush. I don't know. New York City is out of motherfucking control right now. It is. It is. We're nuts. It's like, I think this is one time you got to look and say, you know what, Court? It might be nuts in this motherfucker. It's really just insane. Like the shit that, first of all, hi, it's ImmaLetYouFinish. It's show number 141. Yeah, this is show 141. Court and Amy on the Pantheon Podcast Network. New York City is batshit crazy right now. It's just like, between Jordan Neely being murdered on the subway and people not being arrested there, but protesters being arrested, to buses of migrants coming in, our lovely mayor, who is a one-term mayor,
not necessarily.
Right,
so read the article in the Times.
I know, because listen, because there's no one stepping up to even want the job. Like no one wants to deal with this shit. It's the job where you can win this election by getting you get 15 votes, you could be mayor of New York. I'm telling you, I'm trying to force Amy to do it. I am trying to make her run, because she would be better than what we have now. You really would. I'm telling you, you would do things like there would be fucking tamales on every corner.
Tamales and
the churro ladies would be respected. We would get the good Italian ices in the summer.
Yeah, the good ones. I know.
And the fucking programming for the parks and the stuff, the concerts would be better.
His fault. That's not his fault.
But still, I think you would come in and be like, I have a suggestion.
Well, anyway, hi, how are you? Other than on a rant.
I'm pissed off. I am. And I have let me start with a correction.
And I have a correction for you. So you correct you, and then I'm going to correct you.
I have a correction. I get all my white guys named Martin mixed up. Shirley is married to Martin Kemp.
Okay, you know that nobody even knows who Shirley is. I love the fact that
people who love George Michael, absolutely know who Shirley is.
All right,
they do.
So she's married to the guy from
Spandau
Ballet.
No,
not the guy from Spandau.
No, but Martin Kemp he's in one of those groups. Which one is Martin Kemp in? He's one of them.
Spandau Ballet.
Is Mark Kemp Spandau?
Yeah.
Well, who's Martin Gore? He's one of them.
He's Erasure.
I knew it was somebody like that. Listen. You know me. If I tell you to go 2 blocks to the left, it's 3 blocks and 2 lefts, but I will still get you there. I know
you should try reading his emails, guys. It's like you're in a language. Mm-hmm. And I just want to say that I never said that Kate Bush had performed a concert in the United States. She has performed. She has opened her mouth and sung in front of people in seats. Ergo, she has performed in the United States. But if she performs at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, it will be her biggest performance to date. But she did do Saturday Night Live with Eric Idle as the guest, as the host. So she's technically come to the United States, sat down, opened her mouth, sang, and gotten back on a plane and gone home. So there you go.
Well, aren't you just little Miss Know-It-All?
No, I just know.
Kate called me after that show.
I know.
She has my number. And she said, Courtney, you're right. I've never done a concert in New York. And I was like, well, Catherine, why not? Why not?
Well, no, I just, I just figured it, because one of the big arguments, obviously, is
which you never see that. Do you realize when you go through when they're doing a marathon, they play old Saturday Night Lives, you never see that one ever.
Well, that might be a licensing
something.
Yeah,
because there's also ones where Bette Midler was. Bette Midler, I believe, was on the first episode.
You don't see the Elvis Costello one. You don't see the Replacements one. They were banned after they did that. They were banned. The Beasties ones. I mean, there's a lot of them you don't see because it depends whether licensing and stuff like that. Anyway, so there was like a lot of people standing in a church for an extremely long period of time this weekend. Did you watch any of it?
Yeah, here's the thing. I love to hate on all of that shit, but I like, gowns and a lot of like crown jewels that are stolen from places type shit. So
I like is it me or did they both look like 101 Dalmatians in those? What was that? No, seriously, what animal was that?
I was
Is that ermine? What is
was
ermine
it
anyway? Is that a
I,
mink? An
I have
ermine? Me
guess
neither.
so, some
I
shit.
guess.
I
I don't
don't
know.
know.
It looked
It
like
was
101
it was the
Dalmatians.
weirdest shit on the planet. I just kept saying, I was like, I don't know what's happening.
Well,
I, I
haven't
don't
you
really
watched The
care.
Crown? Come on.
I mean, but that was more glamorous. At least they had a queen, because like I'm not counting this queen, you know what I mean? But it's
Oh,
like,
I am a fan of hers.
uh, no.
Why not?
Why?
Why not? Why is it her fault that he married the wrong woman? I mean, I don't believe you should have
Because she
affairs.
never left.
Right.
It would be a great love story to me if it was like
I have
he
no
couldn't
problem with
marry
her.
her, and then they took a break, and they came. He and Diana got divorced, and they came back together, and they were
Listen, I
really
am
meant to
not a
be
Princess
together.
Diana fan. We've
Oh,
already
see,
gone
well,
over that.
I'm a Princess
I
Diana
think that
fan.
she's, I'm not a fan. I just think that, she's,
It's so funny because I really do think of
she
you as
married the wrong
I
guy. I
really do think
mean,
of you. Well, she was in love. Like I feel like
I don't think
he
she was
was the
in love.
dick. She was in.
I don't think
I believe Princess Diana. Absolutely, she was 19. I absolutely believe, and I think it's really interesting because I do think of you as a feminist, where you
it's got nothing to do with feminism.
but you siding with the side chick.
I'm not siding with the side chick. I'm
You
just saying
absolutely
I just
are.
said I have no problem with her. I have
The
no
side
problem with
chick.
her. No, she's not the side
Yes, she
chick.
is. Oh, yes,
All
she
right, I
is.
have no all I said was I have no problem with Camilla. I have no problem with her. And here's the most important thing. I never think about these people at all. The only time I think about King Charles is
Mm,
when I see a spaniel on the street and I go, "What kind of dog is that?" And they go, "It's a
mm.
King Charles spaniel." I'm still getting used to the fact that they have a king. Let's start with that.
I mean, it's weird. Yeah.
Because God Save the King would not have been as good a song as God Save the Queen,
I
right?
mean, and even that one, I'm like, okay.
Look, I mean, these are people who were, born on third base, as they say. The whole idea of a monarchy is not kind of bananas. It's completely bananas.
Hmm.
Seeing as how he is an older man and will not have as long a reign as his mother,
Hmm.
I think he should have paid for this thing out of his own pocket because they're
I
not getting
mean,
70 years out of this guy.
and
and,
kind of
and
they have
that's
it
not
all.
to be mean. I'm not
No,
saying it to
I
be
mean,
mean.
it's like you got $2 billion. There's a complete cost of living crisis over there. People can't.
Oh my god, they
They can't.
can't eat.
They
They
can't
can't
eat.
eat.
The food bank situation is really crazy.
No, it's
People can't.
real.
They can. And this used to be like, and it used to be. Remember how London was always the really expensive place. But
Right,
now we're
right.
talking about all in the English countryside. People cannot afford to be in
No,
their
it's
houses.
bad.
They
It's
can.
really bad.
And meanwhile, you're. And this is what I hate because they do this here in New York City too. They always say, but it will bring in tourism and it brings money into the city. And I'm like, yes, if I'm a corporation and I own a chain of hotels, my hotels are going to be booked. If you know what I mean, but what does that have to do with regular people? It does
Well, I
not
mean,
trickle down to,
it does to
and
some extent, but
it doesn't. It doesn't trickle down to regular people. You know what I mean? Not in a meaningful way when those people cannot afford to feed their families. So you're right. It's like pay. I don't care that you slimmed it down. Pay for it yourself. You got
pay
the
for it. I
money.
mean, yeah, you have the
You
money
got the money.
and you do have a guy who's actually running. But
Mm,
again, it doesn't impact me. Most of my British friends think it's stupid.
mm,
I think he's doing the best he can under ridiculous circumstance. I got no problem with him. The only member of the royal family I got any problem with, and I don't think about him, is Andrew, and that's because he's a criminal.
mhm.
Other than that, I mean, yay. And I like the little Louis kid. He cracks me up.
Yeah,
The
he's
little
the one. Like he's
No,
the one
he's
who's here
hilarious.
for the shits. He's like,
No,
okay.
he's hilarious. He's a little kid and he acts like I got no problem with William. I got no problem with Kate. I got no problem with any of them. Really honest.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, I think Harry and Meghan are ridiculous, but that's a whole other conversation. But the good thing is
I
it's like
like Harry and Meghan.
it's alternate side of the street parking. It doesn't impact me. I just
Hmm.
look at people moving their cars and, it's more rich people. So, I mean, yay, God save the king. Look like fun. Um, The outfits are fabulous, and, the show was I didn't see but, honestly, not because I was trying to make a statement, I just didn't watch any of it because I was like it just took too long. It just seemed like a distraction. Oh, thank God there was, like, a mass shooting to break up the monotony, so we didn't have to watch the whole thing all day. They could just go to the United States and where people are mowing people down. Thanks, Republicans. Uh, thank you, Republicans.
My favorite part about that conversation is lots of prayers. We love to talk about we're praying for somebody, but we do nothing.
Well,
Nothing. And then was it Greg Abbott? It's about mental health. Okay, if it's about mental health, why does everybody still have access to guns? You can't say it's about mental health and then still give everybody access to
Courtney,
guns.
they don't Republicans here's what Republicans care about: corporations, fetuses, and guns. They don't
Right.
care about children.
No,
They
I
don't
really
care
don't
about
think they care
children.
about
No,
children.
they
They
don't care
don't.
about children. Anyway, let's, the
Well, I should
writers
say this.
oh, so
I think the elected officials, because on the polls that I'm seeing, a lot of Republicans on the ground absolutely believe in having, sort of universal background
well, we'll
checks and
see if
all of those
Greg Abbott
things.
we'll see, Ted Cruz is up for reelection this year. Let's see if he wins, and that shoots that whole
Right,
argument
and
down.
Abbott too, because
No
then
pun
didn't
intended,
they
no pun intended.
reelected him as well? So it's like
Yeah,
people can say all of those
he can
things, and the
say it.
polls could say it, but it's like if you keep putting the same people in the office,
Yeah.
and you keep seeing, I don't know, I'm not trying to turn this into a doom and gloom show because I know I started this show off on a rant, but it's like so much is happening that feels just crazy. It feels lawless.
It is laws. We're a lawless
Yeah.
country.
Yeah, it feels lawless.
We're a
Like
lawless country.
and they always talk about crime on a lower level. I'm like, guys, you guys don't want to prosecute crime on corporate crimes, federal crimes. So you can't expect street crime and shoplifters, they should be the only ones to go to jail. Everybody has to go to jail. And if you defend criminals that can breach our capital, then you want to criminalize people who are shoplifting. It is the same thing. It is just a lawless society. But we're a happy show and
No,
we believe in
I
the
mean, you
law.
just have to be, like I said, register to vote, vote, and vote Republicans out. Full stop. There you go. Not all Democrats are saints, but you'll have a better chance, of your school won't get shot up. But anyway, on a lighter note, writers are on strike, and we support the WGA. I'm sure you know people who are on strike right now. I know people who are on strike right now. I gotta say, if you're going to have a strike and you're going to have picket lines, who better than the writers to supply fantastic picket lines? Because, hello, they're the writers.
Yes, but I want them to get back to the negotiating table, both sides, because I know a lot of people that work in film and TV, and I know a lot of people who this all of their jobs have gone away and they have kids in college, they have homes, and it's they make regular wages. They're not rich people, they're just middle class people. And from what I've been told, on the inside, they're thinking this strike will last for 3 months. And there are a lot of people, 3 months of no income is devastating.
Well, they
So
can get unemployment, I believe.
yeah, but you know what? Guess what? Unemployment doesn't
No, I
pay
know.
any.
I'm just saying.
I'm no, but let me finish. Like, because that's such a flippant. They can get
No,
unemployment,
I'm not
right?
saying
No,
flippant.
let me finish. Thank you. It is what I am trying to say is it is very difficult. And we think of unemployment like in New York, where the maximum is 405 or something like that a week. In a lot of states, it's not even that much. It's not enough money to live on. And if you have kids and you have tuition and you've got, car payment and you've got a mortgage payment. So we support the writers. And I implore both sides to get to the table because eventually they have to come to a deal. It always gets to that point. But
Yeah.
so it's like, let's move past. You've already shown we can disrupt this and we stand with you. But I need you guys to get to the table and yell, scream, pull hair, do what you have to do and get this figured out, because there are a lot of people who 3 months, 2 months, even 1 month without working is devastating. You know
No,
how
I
it
know.
is. you
I'm
know?
unemployed right now, and I'm
Yeah.
not gonna be able to get unemployed. I was
Yeah.
not at all being flippant because
Right.
what I'm saying is that this is not the writer's fault
Mhm.
whatsoever. This is once again technology not keeping up with the reality of our lives. You can't
Yeah.
like you have things now that just didn't. And I'm not saying the technology or streaming is a bad thing. I mean, it's a great thing. It's democratizing in a lot of ways, but you can't expect people to work in the same conditions with a contract that was made 20 years ago when this stuff didn't exist,
And then pull the
and you
bullshit.
see and you
Right.
see the salaries that these corporations are.
Or not even the salaries when you're letting them go and it's like, yeah, we let him go, but we gave him a compensation package of $50 million, and you're like, you
Yeah,
got you
yeah,
got
no, I
you
mean,
got
so
50 you got
it's
$50 million to him to leave.
yeah, it's very hard to, but I will say,
And you know how they're being shady about it. And Netflix started this.
yeah,
Not giving out numbers because, right,
right,
you know, like when you see an opening weekend of a movie, right, you'll see that number, the movie made da 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 here and overseas. But what they started doing was, this is our most watched thing
right, and
ever
most watch doesn't mean what
globally,
does that
and it's
mean?
a
Yeah,
huge hit, but we don't give numbers, and that is a way to not have to pay
right,
people certain sort of residuals and write things. And now all these tech companies are buying movie studios.
right.
Like, they're trying to make a gig economy the way they treated tech workers, but now they're coming across, yeah, real unions that have been there for a long time. And you can't just say, this is the we're in some of these companies like a Netflix, they're in over 100 something countries. You say globally, this is our biggest hit, the most streamed ever. We won't give you the numbers, and you don't want to compensate people who made that product. And then you hear how much these executives are making, and it's like, well, something doesn't add up, because it seems like certain people are making a gazillion dollars, and then the people who make the product you're trying to treat as worthless Denzians. It's kind of nuts.
Well, I think we should be very, not grateful, but thankful, good for all the New York City-based, talk show hosts. They have gone dark. So good for them. All of those guys are in the WGA as well. Every one of Seth Meyers and Pete Davidson and Stephen Colbert were all writers on their own shows. So they are on the picket lines with everybody. They are getting, the WGA, the DGA, SAG, everybody is supporting this because if they can do it to one group, they can do it to every group. So
And you know there are
if
negotiations with everybody coming this summer. After
yeah,
this, the DGA comes up, and then SAG, I believe, is in July.
right.
Those negotiations,
Well,
yeah,
people just think, anybody can write anything. And I will say, so, like the world will go on if we don't have the Seth Meyers show every night. Um, Meaning let them take let them see what it feels like. I know The View doesn't have any writers, which is
right.
hilarious because you've got two writers on the show, right? I mean,
Hmm.
I'm assuming Joy Behar writes her own jokes.
Right.
I'm assuming Whoopi has written shows. I mean, it's different writing a script as opposed to but you can see it that they're kind of scrambling and it just shows how important it is. They're scrambling to get a thought in their head. So
Yeah,
I
but
hope
that's always The View, because they never had writers. I think they had somebody who like wrote intros and stuff. But as far as
that's
the
enough
subjects, no, absolutely.
because
But
they're
that,
saying it. They're
but you have,
announcing.
yeah,
Yeah,
but you have one. That's why it's good that they actually have one moderator, which is Whoopi, right? Because if she can kind of come off the top of her head. Listen, it sucks. It
yeah,
absolutely sucks. And you're right. You've got, okay. You have like you say, like a Seth Meyers, even Fallon in the Tonight Show. When they started, their show just went to over the air on their respective networks. Now, each of those networks has a streaming service where they
right.
put all of those shows, and it's like
Are the writers getting paid? No, they are
that,
not.
and that's the thing, right? And we see all of these deals like, oh, HBO Max took all of these shows off, when they got bought, but now we put the shows over here on these free ad-supported
Right.
streaming. Well, who how does that work? This
Well,
is
we're gonna
people's
find
work.
out. We're
Yeah.
gonna find out. Like what I said, the technology, it's exactly the same way it was when Napster started and
Mhm.
streaming. They're gonna have to redo the business model, and hopefully this will be a domino effect. And like I said, though, I've heard the picket lines are just fabulous, and Pete
Mhm.
Davidson is buying people pizza, and you know. I mean, if you're going to have a picket line, you might as well have a good time. You you might as well enjoy yourself if you're going to have a picket line. All right. So Ed Sheeran, did you watch Hugo Burnham, friend of the show, Hugo Burnham posted a really interesting video, which I couldn't figure out how to repost because the guy who originally posted is from Greg Filling Games, who's a very well-known session pianist and writer, worked a lot with Michael Jackson, really great guy. And he laid out in terms that a moron could understand why how Ed Sheeran's song is not only not a ripoff of Let's Get It On, it has nothing in common. I mean, like note by note. And he played it out. And it's a really, whatever you think of Ed Sheeran, and I know Ed Sheeran is like, people hate him and, it's cool to hate him.
Well, they always hate the one who's popular, right?
Like well, they particularly hate. I mean, there's certain people it's cool to hate, but they hate him. I got no problem with Ed Sheeran. It's just instructive and people should check it out. It's Greg Filling Games. So anyway, Ed Sheeran won the suit. The estate of one of the co-writer of Let's Get It On, Marvin Gaye's Let's Get It On, Ed Townsend's estate was suing him for basically copyright infringement, saying that he had, first off, you can't copyright a chord progression. I'm not trying to, there are people who steal. Pharrell is a noted serial borrower. Okay.
Allegedly.
No, not allegedly. He got convicted. He lost the blurred line suit. That's not alleged anymore.
Okay, it's not. But I'm like, but you're saying no, that you're making it seem like it's across several things. And
it is across several things. He stole Cool Jerk.
Okay, yeah, but I also think we have a show and we have to be like, how we say things is really important because as you know, people listen to this show. So I think that when we're saying certain things about people and it's our opinion and then we are talking about certain things that are factual, I believe that you have to be careful in how you note shit.
All right,
because
allegedly.
you don't need certain things to come back to you and attribute it to you in a way that's not, you know what I mean?
All right, so allegedly, and Ed Sheeran has also been the difference with Ed Sheeran, and there are similar. Ed Sheeran has proactively put the songwriters' names on things.
Yeah. That was the one with the, what was that? Was
no
that
Scrubs. That was no Shape of You with no Scrubs.
Right,
yeah.
Right.
But anyway, he won the suit. It's just, again, whatever you think of Ed Sheeran, there's a lot to say that's good. There's a lot. I think he's like a piñata. He's an easy, it's like shooting fish in a barrel, like not liking him. He seems like a perfectly nice person. He hasn't screwed anybody over to get his career. He's put in the work, the whole suit was dismissed. And the thing that's so ridiculous about not dismissed. Yeah, dismissed. He won the suit. The thing that's ridiculous about this, and Greg Filling Games pointed this out, it's not the artists who are bringing these suits. It's the corporations and the lawyers who have bought the catalogs, because I believe, you might know this as well. I believe that Ed Townsend's daughter, who was the plaintiff, she apologized to Sheeran. They were having like...
And then she had Ben Crump, and I was like, what do you, like...
Yeah, Ben Crump. What was that about?
I was like...
What was Ultimatic? Is Ultimatic still around?
I look at Ben Crump, and I'm like, I see you in a lot of these cases, and I want to know, I want to feel like you're doing good. Then I see you here, and I'm like, are you one of those people who likes to see yourself on TV? Are you turning into Lisa Bloom? Are you going to be like a Lisa Bloom type?
Well, he's the Sanford Rubinstein now. He's got, remember him? Remember Sanford Rubinstein? Remember him?
Okay, kids. Like, I love how last week it was Reverend Ike. This week,
oh, come on.
You are going in your bag and pulling them out.
He's the black Sanford Rubinstein, except he's not a New Yorker. No, and Ultimatics, remember him? Ultimatics was, whatever happened to Ultimatics?
I don't know.
Was he disbarred? I think because of the Tawana Brawley thing, he may have faced real... But anyway, yeah, I saw Ben Crump and I went, wait a minute. I know the plaintiff was black and the defendant, or the other way around, is white, but what has this got to do with civil rights? I was looking at him
and I was like, why are you
here? You're not even a copyright lawyer.
And here's the thing about that. We all know that the gay family is very litigious. The gay estate they are very protective of Marvin's intellectual property. They weren't a part of this suit. I'm like, if they're not a part of a suit on anything that has to do with Marvin Gaye,
it's not legit.
It's not the one.
Right.
It's not the one.
And again, I mean, just that I read an article.
Ben fucking Crump.
Yeah, I was like, very confused by that.
I was like, why are you here?
Ben Crump, for people who don't know, Ben Crump is become a noted civil rights attorney, but Ben Crump was Trayvon Martin's family attorney.
You know what?
I mean, he does serious. He was Michael Brown's attorney. I'm like, he's the guy.
I'm like, don't become this.
Yeah,
don't become this guy.
He's not and that's what's so crazy is that you need a specific type of lawyer. I mean, you don't hire Ben Crump to negotiate your divorce. You hire unless your divorce was involved of somebody, shooting you on the street. So that was really weird. But the point is that this Greg Filling Games thing is interesting. I think that Ed Sheeran, in a lot of ways, makes himself a target because he is very open about, he did play Let's Get It On. He would segue in between the two songs. He is very wealthy. He's looked at as like, because he's settled before people go, oh, he's.
Let me just tell you something.
He's wealthy, but it's the fact that these corporations are lawyers are owning the music.
And I have worked with so many artists that have gone on tour, that have done mashups of their songs that have a similar sort of cadence to very classic songs and done them as a mashup. So I thought that was such a weak argument. I'm like, are you kidding me? Go to any concert, and that is not an unusual thing. So, and everybody's working from the same course. Now, as far as Pharrell, and like we say, if we go back to like Blurred Lines, when I first heard Blurred Lines,
happy.
Yeah, when I first heard Blurred Lines, I literally thought it was kind of a new take.
I thought, no, come on. Everybody thought it got to give it up. Everybody. Yeah, that's not, and Happy as well. That's borrowed from the Contours' Cool Jerk.
Right.
Yes, there are only certain amount of chords in the thing.
And Pharrell is a hip hop producer, and he comes from that generation of producers where it was a lot of heavy sampling of those tracks and to make new tracks. And listen, I think sampling is great as long as you get permission and you do all of the right thing. I would have had no problem if they had just been like, yeah, we absolutely that's different than a chord progression on Blurred Lines, right? It's to give it up. It is kind of like,
what do they call it? An interpolation?
Yes, and there's an interpolation, and then there's kind of like,
there's a word that didn't. I don't even think that word existed when we were kids. Like, what's it? I always thought the first time I saw it, I went, "Oh, this idiot can't spell interpretation." Is it like edutainment? Like can you not spell? Anyway, and he has a new album out, which is getting mixed reviews, and people are being jerks about him. And like I said, he doesn't. He's another one. He doesn't enter into my world. He doesn't seem like a bad person.
Well, people always get mad when you're excellent too. You notice that there's going to be
not excellent.
Actually, I actually think he is, and I think you don't have. I don't think you have to be a fan of someone to not realize that they are excellent. I think watching that man, he plays stadium shows, and the only thing he needs is a band and him. There's not 20 million dancers. It's him, his guitar. He has great graphics and screens, but it is him. And to be able to do that, as you know, we talked about Neil Tennant having that thing, right? It's like, I can have dancers and all of those things, but I know how to. That is a very difficult thing to do. And I think he is a really good songwriter.
I think he's a good songwriter. I mean, the ability to stand on stage and not have dancers, to me,
stadium.
It would be but people have done that for a million years.
Yes, and they're excellent. Because a lot of people aren't great at it. I've done a lot of shows. I've worked with a lot of artists. I've seen some people get on the stage and I'm cringing, hoping they make it through the show. And then there's others who just have the thing. They get on that stage. And what they have is something special that you can't bottle, you can't teach, and you can't make
I
up,
think like I said, I think that he is an easy target for many, many reasons, mainly because he has done the right thing. There are yeah. Watch the Greg Filling Games thing. Like I said, I tried to post it, but my technology skills are ridiculous. But it's just sort of like, and also keep in mind, a musician didn't bring this suit.
No.
A corporation, an estate, and
And a
that's the
corporation
problem.
who's buying all, and that's what they're doing. They're buying all.
It's always
people
the
are being so happy.
estate.
They're selling their catalogs to these corporations.
It's never the Basquiat, another artist who's bringing the suits. It's the estate, and the estate. Yes, you have to protect intellectual property. I'm 100% with that, but just keep in mind that this is part of the corporate. When you have lawyers buying things just to have it, just to have an acquisition. Anyway, so he
they
won.
know nothing about music, FYI.
Nothing about music.
Zero.
Nothing. It's just
and they don't purport to. They're like,
no.
this is a money-making enterprise.
It's an investment. Yeah. It's like some guy from some country where they treat women like crap and buy something, and we're like, oh, he's a musician. It's like, nope. It's like,
I love my shady Amy kids. Let me just tell y'all something.
Shady.
She's the best on the planet.
I am going to object to the word shady.
Because if you guys can see her face when she says the things, it's so laced with dripping New York shade.
I am not.
Wait, even when she's saying that, her head is tilted up and she's giving you the look to the sky like, me? Am I the drama?
I am not. No, I know. I am going to stand up for myself here. I am not being shady. I'm not being dramatic. I am saying something.
Shady's not a bad thing. I don't know why you say. Look, shady can be a bad thing, but shady can be sometimes. Look, it's just shady, bitch. It's shade.
I'm just saying it. I'm just calling it.
She's saying it like a TI is, like the B-52.
I mean, is it a surprise that sheiks are buying things and they have no idea what they're doing with it? They're like, oh, this is a song. I'm not. All right.
We'll take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Hello, Pantheon Podcast listeners. Christian Swain here to tell you more about my experience with Raycon earbuds. Our family now has 3 pairs of Raycon earbuds around the house, and my wife just grabbed a pair of the Headphone Pros to replace some headphones from a company that was double the price. And yes, she loves them. Now, if you haven't pulled the trigger on a pair of Raycons, or even if you have but you're in the market for another pair because they're just that good, well, now is the time to check them out, because they just launched their upgraded model of the best-selling everyday earbuds. With Raycon's upgraded everyday earbuds, now you also get active noise cancellation, ergonomic design, and multi-point connectivity that lets you pair with 2 devices at once. New quick charge function, 3 customizable sound styles, plus awareness mode. Available in a variety of vibrant new colors to complement any and all skin tones. I even have a pair of earbuds in a cool green color. I have tried just about every earbud known to humankind, and these Raycons are fantastic. Seriously, if you've been wanting to check out Raycons, there truly is no better time. You're going to ask yourself why you didn't check them out sooner, and Raycon offers a 30-day happiness guarantee. So what are you waiting for? Go to buyraycon.com/Pantheon today to get 20% off your Raycon order, plus free shipping. That's right, you'll get 20% off and free shipping at buyraycon.com/Pantheon. buyraycon.com/Pantheon.
And we're back.
I didn't even know the Knick game was on last night. I honestly thought it was the night before. I really honestly, and you send me this text and go sigh. And I'm like, oh my God.
And she calls me up. She goes, what's wrong? And I'm like, aren't you watching this game? She's like, it's on tomorrow night. I'm like, sweetie, it's on now. It's on now.
See, that's what happens when I see.
There's a game on tomorrow night. It's the one that they're clearly going. If they come back to the Garden, they're clearly going to lose because.
Well, let's not think negatively. No. Even if they do, how much happiness have we gotten? This has been great. Listen, there is a very
I was
difference, as
happy
you-
all season until the postseason, watching them be horrible.
very different. It's a very different. Well, except for
Well, they
it's
don't
it's night and day playoff teams,
and honestly, if I just think that Julius Randle, I think we need to trade him out. We need somebody else. He doesn't have the heart of a champion to me. Little, and this is what changed it for me. First of all, watching them last night have 8 turnovers within the first 5 minutes of the game, which is what has killed them the last 2 games.
The foul shots and the turnover.
Just 8 within the first 5 minutes. I was like, oh, you guys still aren't protecting the ball. You're going to lose. But in the press conference, watching Julius Randle, who just shot horribly, was terrible. When they were asking about it, said, well, maybe they just wanted it more than we did. And I'm like, that's just nothing you would ever hear. A champion is mad that you lost. They would never say another team wanted it more than they did. Nobody should want it more than you did. And I felt like, yeah, maybe Jimmy Butler and this team wanted it more than you wanted. And watching the way you guys played, and even when we were thinking, oh my God, don't trade RJ, he's, to me, regressed. So I don't know, Ames. I think that there's some changes that need to happen in this offseason. And I just don't think Julius can be the man, because each time he has that time to step up, it just doesn't seem to be there. So it was a great season. I think we got really excited. I don't even know if I expected them to be in the postseason. They got in it.
I didn't
expect it.
Or not this far, not to go. Listen, Miami, I was reading something. They go, people got sort of like Miami in the Miami postseason is a very different Miami. And what Miami has that the Knicks don't have are guys who have played, who have been in it. And there is a mentality. I am not a professional athlete. You're not a professional athlete. But there is
a professional athlete.
Yeah.
Speed walking.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? But there is a mentality and there is a knowing of what wanting it means. And I actually think in a really weird way, I'm not saying I'm happy he said that, but I think that was a very honest answer. I mean, what's he going to say? That's a very honest answer.
Which is why I said you don't have the heart of a champion. So honestly, he needs to go.
Yeah, but
we're never going to get over the hump with it.
But the officiating was horrible. It's been horrible.
Absolutely, but so was the play, right?
Yeah,
and the play has been horrible this entire postseason.
They were. Terrible. I mean, they were. What's his face? The Heat were sloppy too. There were a lot of moments sloppy, but. Sometimes it's just somebody's sloppy, time.
But they have shooters, and they're shooters when it counts. Those baskets are going in, and our guys, we just kept seeing them. They're just like, you know what? They look like the Keystone Cops. That's what they look like.
I won't go there, but it was not a happy game. I didn't, like I said, I turned in after I finished watching Succession. I think that's the reason I didn't realize the game, because everybody posts about freaking TV shows the second they run. And I'm like, I would like to watch
I haven't seen it yet.
I haven't seen it yet. I would like to know, especially a show that's in its last season. So it's obviously building towards a succession. I would like to know who gets the crown. So yeah, listen, I've been very happy. It's been, if it doesn't, it doesn't. If it does, it does. As long as Boston doesn't win the whole thing, I'm happy, And if I just can't stand Boston. The city, the cream pie, the chowder's okay.
Well, right now it looks like
Philly, right? Philly?
Maybe.
Who's winning in the West? Is LA up or is it?
LA is up.
Okay.
They won again. LA is up.
Okay. You think this will be LeBron's last year?
No, he wants to play with Bronny, his son, supposedly. So Bronny's got to do. He just committed to USC, so everybody.
They'll bring him in. He'll let him do 1 year of college and bring him in.
It's the one and done, right? So he's going to do that. So he's got to try to hold off and try to make it to playing with him at 40.
I have to tell you though, ever since we did that Google search on Hartenstein and discovered, according to Google, that he's black, can I tell you that every time he's on the screen, I'm looking. And I have friends who are black and friends who are white, and you look at them and go, where, are you Cajun or how far back? That's great. Who cares? And I'm looking at this guy Like, I can't wear. And he's from Germany too, right? Is he an American or is he actually German?
I'm going to look it up again.
Please, because I can't. I know Mike Love's heritage. Not Mike Love. Mike Love's his uncle. Kevin Love. The only.
Okay, I was last week years old when you fucking told me that. I was like,
I know.
I'm like, what?
Yeah, he's okay. Mike Love's nephew.
Isaiah Hartenstein.
Isaiah.
That's a very He's a German American professional basketball player. Okay, hold on, let's see.
So where'd we get the black?
Okay, I'm going to tell you right now. Hold on. Early life. Born in Eugene, Oregon.
Oh, cool. Okay.
He is the son of Florian, a German basketball coach and former professional basketball player for the Afro-German descent. His mother is American. So I'm assuming that his mom is a white American.
A white American.
But I don't see what his father looks like.
And his father was biracial. Probably dad was in the army.
Or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because there are not a lot of native black people in Germany.
Actually, I don't know, because from what
meaning if you're German, you have to be 100% German to be considered German.
Right.
But okay, all I know is that's my new party trick, is looking at this guy going, where? I'm looking up. But yay, Florian. That's a good name.
Mm-hmm.
That's Darcy and Starcy's brother-in-law. From Darcy and Starcy. Well, yay. I mean,
we suck.
Well, they suck. We don't suck. Yeah. We're perfectly fine.
It's been really horrible for my nerves. Last night, and I'm texting my mother, and I'm very, very upset. And she's sending me prayer hands like, there's still a lot of game left. Don't give up hope.
We gotta get you meditating.
And I'm like, oh no, hope is gone, Mom. They keep turning over the ball. Like, I see where this is going.
Hope is gone in so many other ways. Trust me. We're screwed in so many other ways. So many other ways. This is just sort of like a break from us being screwed. It is the worst is yet to come.
Oh, don't say that.
Which is why you need to meditate, so that you can find some glimmer of something. All right. I don't understand this Richard Dreyfuss thing. Could you explain it to me? I mean, I understand.
I guess he's the Academy has put in new policies about, behind the screen, behind the camera, trying to have more diversity. And when diversity is like more people from every sort of background and gender.
And women.
That's what I'm saying. I know people always want to think of diversity, even they hear affirmative action, they just think black people. I'm like, no, it's to include more of everybody. And he just thinks that's ridiculous. Like, especially, for him, and I kind of get that he's saying if you're an actor, you're supposed to be able to transform and play anything. And he was defending blackface and just saying as an actor, you should be able to not have limits. The way he said it, I thought was quite sloppy. And, listen, if people were freely getting jobs that they were absolutely qualified for and do the work, we wouldn't need to put certain things in place. But if you have, women still not being hired for certain jobs that they're absolutely capable for, Native, Indigenous people, Asian, Black, Latin, open it up to everybody. So I don't know. It just sounded very ill-timed.
I mean, in front of the camera, there should be colorblind. But if the point, it should be colorblind within reason. I mean, if you're doing the Martin Luther King biopic, no, a white guy should not play Martin Luther King.
Right.
But where you really make the difference, and this is what Frances McDormand has always said, behind the scenes is where the power is.
And that is what the rules are really all about.
That's what it really addresses.
It's behind the camera. And to me, that is important.
That is important because that's where the decisions are being made. I think
and that's where the real jobs are. Here's the thing.
Right.
being an actor is like you can work and not work for a year.
That's lightning in a bottle. Yeah.
Behind the scenes are the jobs, the careers, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? That
So
should be open to
I think
everybody.
they took, I'm not saying, I'm not excusing him, but I think that was the quote, the poll quote for
And
the clickbait.
everybody loves a pull, right? It's like you
Yeah.
take a little section of a conversation and here it is. It's sensational.
Yeah, no, I think it's behind the scenes is definitely important. I mean,
Mm.
you definitely films
I
are
mean, he sounded
different.
like a dick. Let's not get that. But yes, absolutely right. What you're saying, 1,000%.
Yeah, I mean, you get a different perspective when different people are putting it together, and we all need that perspective across the board, across the board. So I think that what he said sort of sounded like old man yelling at clouds,
Mm-hmm.
but s- um in front of the camera and behind the camera are two totally different things. But let's keep in mind that Shakespeare had men playing women because women were not allowed to be
They
on
were not
stage.
allowed. Exactly.
You know, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is where drag comes from. So if you have a problem with drag queens, blame Shakespeare.
You know,
It's all Shakespeare's fault.
yeah, we could go. Let's.
Yeah, what that sucks. All right. New York institution, pop culture institution, paper magazine,
Ugh.
folded, print and online. It had been
Ugh.
bought a couple of years ago, folded. It is no longer. It was founded 1984, and that
And in the
and
original, and
details.
it used to look like a newspaper. It was called
It
paper.
totally
When it
did. Yeah, yeah,
originally
yeah.
came out, it was printed like a paper, and it was the Bible of downtown. Like
That
it
and
was
details, right? The
what?
early
Yeah, I
details,
love,
right?
I love. Oh.
Annie
Detail
Flanders when she ran
and
details.
details. What details was the men's magazine. It was always like a men's style guy,
No, no,
fashion
no,
guy.
the early details that they gave out in clubs. Annie Flanders started details. It was a downtown club
Was
magazine,
it?
and then yes, and then it sort of morphed into what it became. It did not start like that. It started like super funky pyramid mud club kind of mentality.
I
And
didn't know that.
then
Mhm.
yeah, then it got bought, and then it became a men's magazine. It was Condé Nast, and it was great and whatever. No, but paper going away, there's just it's just, I understand it's not profitable to run any media outlet these days, but it's just sad because both of those, David and Kim, were just really visionary, and we know a lot of people who got their start with paper,
I
who
know a
were
lot of people
featured
who
in
work
paper.
there. I know a lot of people who
Yeah.
had columns there. You know what I
Isn't
mean?
Vicky, that's where Vicky used to have
Vicky
a
worked there. Bill Coleman had a column there. Bevy
right.
had a column with just I
Yeah.
can go on and on. I still luckily, I have some magazines that I've saved over the years to survive. I had a fire years ago, so I lost a lot of the old ones that I saved. But I still have 3 of my paper magazines. I have 2 from 1999, one with Rosie Perez on the cover and one with
Okay.
D'Angelo on the cover. And it just was the Bible of what's hip, what's happening. It was such a cool New York centered, great. This just the kind of magazine that they don't make anymore. That just felt really influential for the city, and it's just sad to see another thing get bought and sucked in, and the value not seen, and let
No, if
everybody.
they shut down,
It just
they're
let.
gone.
I was about to say, it just let everybody go in a day and be like, "Yeah, that's it, we're done."
Yeah, that's sad, but
Yeah.
it had a great run. It made a huge impact. So so here I'm raising my coffee cup to Kim and David. And if you're a Facebook person, David Hershkovitz, who's one of the founders, who's like the nicest guy. Whenever I see
Mhm.
him, he always acts like he actually knows who I am. So bless his heart, because there's no freaking way he does. But he has a Paper People page on Facebook, so you can look at all the really cool stuff that they did. All right, what are you listening to?
It's been nothing new, but I've just been spinning Jessie Ware all weekend.
All right,
She's just
nothing wrong
making
with
me
that.
feel great, like through a really shitty weekend and just, I don't know, all the shit that's going on in this city. I will say that album is kind of giving me a little pep in my step.
I was playing oh, congratulations everybody won the Pulitzer. Former music critic Hasu won a Pulitzer, so good for him.
For what?
I started, I have the book sitting over there. I'll mention it our next show because I want to finish it before I give it my ringing endorsement, which I waited 3 months to get it from the library. I was like, when's it coming in? I started listening, I guess because Bernie Taupin in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. One of my favorite Elton John records is Tumbleweed Connection. And I was just listening to Tumbleweed Connection because one of my favorite songs is Amarina. And one of my favorite songs in a movie is the opening credits of Dog Day Afternoon, and they play Amarina, which has got nothing to do with Dog Day Afternoon or City or anything. So I've just been listening to that and waiting for Jesse, we're waiting for new music. There's nothing yet. I mean, right? What's on the horizon? Anything? Taylor Swift re-recording another album? Okay, that's not a new record. I mean, no disrespect. That's not a new record. That's her re-recording another album. Is there anything coming out of note?
No.
Do you know anybody who went to see Janet last night?
Yes.
Oh, was it
they
to be expected?
It. Yeah, as to be expected.
All right. That's
Janet.
Janet. She's not going to come out there with a guitar and sing.
Nope.
Not going to do that. She's not Ed Sheeran.
No, she's not going to suddenly strum and be by herself. It's not going to happen.
No, she's not going to do that. Who was the opening act?
Lots of hair. Ludacris.
Really?
Yes. And I heard he was great.
Oh, I'm sure he was.
I heard he had it was hits packed and it was great.
Oh, that is super cool.
That is a good one, right?
I like that. I like that. I've heard he's great live.
Yeah.
I've heard he's great live. All right. You want to take it out? Take it out.
New Yorkers, we love you. Everybody, just stay safe. You know what it is, kids. Thank you for listening to us on the Pantheon Podcast Network. This June, guys, will be our 4th year. We will be 4 years old in a month. 4 years, this crazy little show.
And one of us will be toilet trained by then.
Okay, and one of us will be toilet trained.
We don't, and we'll let you guess which one it is.
And so you know the deal. You can hear us every week on the Pantheon Podcast Network. We're on their main feed. Thank you for the people who listen to us there. And
also, now that it's warm, Courtney, aren't you starting to yell out your window at UPS men so you can hear us there too?
I am starting. If you're in the Harlem area,
Courtney it's like Rapunzel, but without the hair.
And if you work for UPS,
Courtney's there. He loves a man in uniform.
And you have on the shorts and your short shirt, and you hear somebody offering you some Harvey's Bristol cream from a 4th floor window.
Oh my God. No, it's Sweetie. Single man up here, Sweetie.
It's me.
It's him.
Me. And know, my apartment's really clean. I like to keep it clean.
Now you have to take a long walk up there. But it's good. But then you'll know that your beloved is in good shape.
And I can cook. That's all I'm going to say.
No, he can.
I can cook. You know what I'm saying? I can cook. So it's like you can
not
deliver.
Just eggs the way guys say, I can cook, and they make you some eggs. No, you can actually cook.
So I am here for your package delivery. Anyway, so leave a message. Tell a friend.
All right, now I'm giving you shade. Wait, now my head is spinning around and the shade. The sun has gone out and the shade is starting. That, ladies and gentlemen, is like, that was eye rolling back in your head. Okay, that is shade.
So leave a message. Tell a friend. Tell your cousin, tell their aunt, and we will see you next week. Bye.
Bye, guys.
It's NFL draft season, and that means it's time to start thinking about fantasy football. FantasyPoints.com features industry-leading experts and prognosticators using proprietary hand-charted data to help you score more fantasy points. FantasyPoints.com is the place to go for whatever kind of fantasy football you play. Whether you play fantasy football, daily fantasy sports, or do a little bit of everything, Fantasy Points has the meticulously researched content to guide you to victory. And why wait for the fall? Fantasy Points also covers the new spring football league, the UFL. Join the guru, John Hansen, Scott Barrett, Joe Dolan, and other massive names in the fantasy football universe with an exclusive offer. Use code Pantheon for 15% off any Fantasy Points package, including the all-in package with access to every article, tool, and data nugget that Fantasy Points has to offer. That's fantasypoints.com and code Pantheon for 15% off at Fantasy Points. Fantasypoints.com, code Pantheon. Score more fantasy points.